Hi everybody, today we will cover the Amazon Kinesis topic. For that I have created these two labs. So in the first lab we will create an Apache server and we will send the logs of that Apache to our Amazon Kinesis stream, and then we will read that records by Amazon Kinesis data firehouse to deliver them to Amazon simple storage service or S3. In the second lab we will work with Nginx server, and this time we will send our logs to our Amazon Cloudwatch. Then we will create Amazon Cloudwatch subscription filter. Then we will send those logs to our Amazon Kinesis stream. Then we will create AWS Lambda with source mapping invocation type that will read the records from our Amazon Kinesis stream and then deliver them to Amazon open source service. Then at the end, we will visualize our logs that have been sent by this Amazon CloudWatch subscription filter and then make like pie charts and so on. So stay with me. So first thing I will do, I will jump to my AWS account and start creating those resources. First thing I will start with is to create a VPC where my EC2 instance that hosts our Apache server where that that will host our Apache server. So first thing I will do is go and create a VPC. So if you're already familiar with those steps, you can skip to the next section. We'll start and we call it Kinesis VPC. I will go with cider block like 10.10.0/16. We'll scroll down and they create my VPC. I will create an internet gateway and we'll call it Kinesis IGW, and then I will create it, then attach it to my Kinesis VPC. Scroll down, create subnets. I will create two public subnets, but you can create only one if you want. It does not matter because we will host an EC2 instance in that public subnet, so it will be able to access to the internet, and also we can access to it and install our web server. So I will call it Kinesis public subnet 1. Create in the first AZ and then give it cider block IP and then create it. Once it's created, let me make sure to edit the subnet settings and then enable the auto assign public IP address. So this feature, this option allows us every time we launch an EC2 instance inside this subnet, then it will attach a public IP address to our ENI that it attached to our AWS EC2. Create another one in the same VPC. I will call it Kinesis subnet to public subnet 2. It will be in the second AZ with cider IP address. Scroll down and then create that. And then the same thing I will do with this one is to edit the subnets and then enable auto assign IP address. Another thing here is to come back to our VPC and then enable the DNS to host name. This feature is very important to enable it. Otherwise, your DNS name will be not resolved. Your host's DNS will not be resolved. So we need to enable that and then go to the DNS resolution. So it's enabled. And now let's go and create our row table. So Kinesis public route table, attach it to our VPC and then create our row table. We'll scroll down and then associate this route table with our subnets, save it, and for now, our route table, if we look in the route, it does not allow us to go to the internet. And to do that, we need to add a new route. And this one means that anytime our instance try to go to outside internet, please direct the request to the internet gateway. Then we save changes. Now everything is set it up. Next step now is go and create our EC2 instance. We'll go to the EC2 instance and then launch a new instance. I will use Amazon Linux 2 EMI, so I will call it Kinesis. And this one agent, because I am going to install a Kinesis agent on this one. I will scroll down and then I will choose T3 medium, and then for the key pair I will choose EC2, but I cannot but I will not use this key pair. It can connect. There is an option that you can make an SSH to your EC2 use via the console. So we'll choose my VPC I have created earlier, scroll down, choose subnets for subnet, and for selection security group I will create new one and I will call it Kinesis Cloudwatch, because this the same security group I will use it in the second lab agent. And then for description I will copy the name and paste it there. And then for the inbound roles, it allows us SSH, and then we add a new role to allow HTTP, because we will have our HTTPD or our Apache server. So we need to enable the HTTP type, and that is like we can see that the TCP is inside the HTTP. So the HTTP is in layer 7, TCP in layer 4. And then for source type, anywhere, scroll down, make sure that everything set it up, and then we will launch our instance. Let me come back to our instances, click on it. You can see that there is a public IP address. We'll try to connect to it, and you can see that you can connect to it using only the console. But if you want to use the SSH application, then you can go here to this tab and click on SSH, and it will give you the steps you should follow. But me, I will use only the console. So now if I check if my my instance access to internet, I will make ping. Yes, it works now. That then the traffic is go outside. So first thing I'm going to do is do sudo yum update /yes, and then sudo yum install httpd/yes. So this one will install our Apache server. If we type httpd status, it is not starting. Okay, so if we type like sudo service httpd start, now it's working. If we repeat the same one, it works. Now if I copy the public IP address here, you can see this page. And actually this Apache server generates logs, and I want to see logs from or I want to send the logs to it to Kinesis and store them in AWS S3 rather than going to the instance, then go to the var log httpd. Sorry, I need to go to var log cd to httpd permission denied, and then I will switch to the root and then get to httpd. We can see here the logs of our http or our Apache server. You can see this is our public IP address, right? And this is the timestamp, the get method, the response type, the size, and then this is the agent that's been used. In our case, it's Chrome. Now, these logs, I want them to read them via the AWS or Amazon Kinesis agent. For that, I need to install the agent. But before installing the agent, I need to do another very important step. Is that once this EC2 instance will try to make calls or send those logs to Amazon Kinesis, then this instance should have the permission to write to our Amazon Kinesis stream that we will create it for now. So for that, this instance must have an instance role or instance profile that has a profile that has a role, and that role has permission that allow to write to this Amazon Kinesis stream. For that, I need to create first thing our permissions, and for that I have already the permission that will be needed by the Kinesis agent are Kinesis and action put records, and Kinesis to put record, and then Cloudwatch to put metric data. So I will copy them and go to our AWS IAM to create our policy. So first time I will create policy, and then I will choose to use JSON format. So I will paste our policies here. Click on create, review, and call it Kinesis HTTPD agent policy. Scroll down and then click on create. Now I will create a role for our EC2 instance. So I will click on create role and then go to AWS service, then choose the EC2 service. Click on next, and then look for Kinesis HTTPD, this one, we have created earlier. If we click on this plus icon, you can see the permission attached to this policy. Click on next, and then for role, I will call it Kinesis HTTPD agent role. Scroll down and create our role. So once this role is created, we'll come back to our EC2 instance and attach that role to it. So let's just wait until this role is created. So our role is created. Just come back to our instance consoles and click on our instance, then on actions, then in security, then we modify the IAM role and look for Kinesis HTTP role, and we update our IAM role. Just come back now and install our Kinesis agent. So to install it, we'll use this command. We clear that, we get in our home, and then paste that command. Click on yes. Okay. Now if I type service AWS Kinesis agent status, it is not working. Sorry, it is not running, it is stopped. So before start it, we need to make a configuration to our Kinesis agent. And to do that, we need to go to the etc AWS Kinesis agent, and there we'll provide our configuration. So this configuration that we will provide will will send our metrics, the metrics of our our AWS Kinesis agent, and then we will provide the Kinesis stream in the Kinesis endpoint, right? And then here the Kinesis stream name, and this is the partition key. And here the file pattern, that is the directory of our access logs in our Apache server. So first thing I will do is go and create Amazon Kinesis stream. So let's just type Kinesis. So we click on the Kinesis service, and then create our stream. Call it Kinesis agent. We scroll down. I will go with the on-demand capacity mode, and then create a data stream. Then let me copy this name and come here and paste it. And then check this all configuration. I will copy it and go to our EC2, and then go under etc. Sorry. So let me end this session. and then connect again. So sudo maybe the root etc AWS Kinesis, and in this agent.json we need to add that configure. If we cut it, sorry, you can see this, it has this configuration. So I would override this configuration by add mine. So for that, let me copy it again. Come here and make cat agent.json and paste that here. Control C. Now, yes, the configuration now, as you can see. And next step, we need to start our Kinesis. So if you start it now, then you will face an error. So we can start it, then we see that together. So service, AWS Kinesis agent, start. So there is an error there. So if we try to go to logs, to var/log, sorry, cd to var/log, and then go AWS Kinesis agent, and then catch the AWS Kinesis agent logs. So actually, you can see that there will be an error that would be here. That's like this Kinesis agent is not allowed, or is not able to read our logs that reside /under/var/log/httpd. And why that's the problem? Because if we can come back here and make -l, we can see that the httpd directory has only the read, writes, and execute by the user, and for other ones have no permission to read and execute. Execute mean that the other user cannot get into this folder until they be the root user. So for that, we should we change the mode, and then we keep 7, and then 0, and then 7, and then recursively on the httpd. And this time, let us go to AWS agent and restart the agent. Now you can see it is okay. And if we can check service AWS agent and then make status, it is working successfully. Now we want to see the logs. How can we see the logs of our Apache server? So if we keep refreshing here, these logs will be generated under the var log httpd access log, and then it will be read by the AWS Kinesis agent. Then it will be sent to our Kinesis stream, to this stream. So if let me come back again and then make a cat AWS logs. So you can see now it is successfully, the record sent successfully to the destination. Let me clear here, and now let me go and create a delivery stream, or Amazon Kinesis Firehouse stream. So this AWS Firehouse enable us to read from our AWS Kinesis stream and deliver the records to different destination, either to AWS Lambda or to our AWS Elasticsearch or to our Amazon S3. So here we'll deliver it to our Amazon S3. For that, let me first create an S3 bucket for our AWS Kinesis Firehouse. So I'll create a bucket and call it Kinesis HTTPD and then bucket. And to be a unique bucket, it's better to write the date of today. Scroll down and then create bucket. Let me come back to my Kinesis service, and now I can choose the source. It will be our Kinesis data stream, and then for destination it will be our Amazon S3. So I will browse for my Kinesis stream and we will choose the one we have created, choose, and then scroll down, and then for this destination setting I will choose my Kinesis HTTPD bucket as my destination. We'll scroll down, and then here it tell me which bucket prefix you want to insert record to it. I will make it as like a default, and once any records will be read by Firehouse, it will create ditch. It will create a new prefix, the year, and then here the day, the month, the day, and the hour. And here it tell you that, for example, if any record that is not could not be processed by the Kinesis Firehouse, then it will be put it in the S3 error. So in the prefix I will call it error, and then here I will call it success. We'll scroll down and then create our delivery stream. So once it is created, so it will take a little bit of time until the record will be delivered to our S3 bucket. And to check if that's when that will happen, you can come back to your Kinesis stream and then keep looking to this those metrics that will tell you, like for example, the incoming data, and then for example here the port records, and here the record that's been delivered to history, sorry, that will be, or the get record, for example, the record that's been read by Kinesis Firehouse. And if we come back to our delivery stream or our AWS Kinesis Firehouse, and then scroll down, go to monitoring, and here you can see there are metrics for example, how to tell you if the records have been delivered to S3 or not. So once they will be delivered, then here you will see like there is a point appearing here telling you how many records are delivered, and for now they are in the no data available because the stream the Firehouse has not yet started reading from our AWS Kinesis stream. For that, I will keep refreshing that. So new logs will be created and then read by the AWS Kinesis agent, delivered to our stream. Then Kinesis Firehouse will read them and then deliver them to our S3 bucket. So I will pause the video and wait a little bit of time until the records delivered to S3, then come back to you. So we can see here now, if we refresh, we can see that new metrics start to appear our AWS Kinesis Firehouse, sorry. And if we go to the deliver to S3, we can see that there is a point here. That means that our record starts to be delivered to our S3 bucket. So if we go to our S3 bucket, to this bucket we have created earlier, and then we refresh, Yes, we can see that there is like this is the prefix. So this is the year, then the month, then the day, then the hour. Then if we click on one of this and then download it, and we can open it with Notepad. Yes, it contains the logs of our Apache server. It is the same log as we seen before. So I hope that is clear for you now. So once this done, let us try to jump to the other architecture. And this time we will use Nginx server and then send logs to our Cloudwatch using the unified Cloudwatch agent. And then we'll create a subscription filter. So every time logs will came to a specific log group, then those logs will be delivered either to AWS Lambda or Kinesis or open source directly. But me, I want to deliver them to Kinesis. Then I will create AWS Lambda of type event source mapping. Sorry, source mapping event type invocation. Then I will use this Lambda to call our Amazon open source service to deliver those logs. Because there in AWS Lambda, I will transform, I will modify our logs, then I will send them to our AWS open source service. Then I will visualize them using Kibana. So first thing I will do, I will clean up the first architecture resource and then jump to the other one. So first thing I will do is come back to Kinesis and then deliver the Firehouse Kinesis and then go to stream and then delete it, and then go to EC2 instance, close it, come back to instance, and then terminate the instance. So get an instance. Sorry, let me refresh again. Go to the agent and then terminate that instance. And now I will launch a new instance where I will install our Nginx. For that, I will call this time Nginx server. Scroll down. I will go use the T2 medium. Scroll down, choose a random this key pair. Even I will not use it, but in the to it is required. That's why I have chosen it. Even I don't use it. I will edit that. I will go to the Kinesis VPC. I can choose first or second one. It does not matter. I will select my previous created security group, because this one I will, because it has inbound role on the port 80, and Nginx listen on the port 80 as well as the Apache. And then I will launch an instance. We'll scroll down and then it's independent state. Just wait. Git init, then click on connect, and then we can connect to it. You can either connect to it through this console or using the SSM session manager. But to have that, you need to add or to attach a role to your instance that has the instance core managed SSM managed to be able to see your instance in the SSM manager console. So first thing you will do is yum update. Yes. And then install Linux. Sorry, install Nginx. So for that we'll use the Amazon Linux Extra Package Manager. Install Nginx 1. Yes. So fetch check service, Nginx status, service, independent state. Let us start it. Check this time, it is running. If I come back and copy the public IP address of the instance and paste it here, now we can see this is the welcome page of Nginx. And the logs of Nginx are under var log cd Nginx. And here we can see, sorry, we switch to the roots and then make ls, and I can see cats access logs. You can see logs is the same as the Apache. So now let us start and try to install our Cloudwatch agent. So to install it, we'll use this command that's already available in the AWS documentation. So I will switch back to the EC2 user and then sudo and then paste this command here. So our AWS CloudWatch agent is installed. And to start it, so before to start it, we need to use this configuration. So this configuration actually what it does is read logs from this file, and then it will create an Nginx access log CloudWatch group log group, and then for the stream it will be the instance ID, and then for retention period it will be 1. So this configuration, I have stored them in the AWS SSM parameter store, and they will read them from the parameter SSM parameter store. But before that, I need to create permissions or an instance profile that I will attach it to this instance. And for that, I should create permissions that will be needed by the AWS CloudWatch agent. And those permissions are is the logs put retention period retention policy, and the AWS CloudWatch admin policy and CloudWatch agent policy. Let us jump to the IAM and then see that together. So I will create a role, and this time we'll call it CloudWatch. So let's create it. It's for EC2. Sorry. Let us refresh this page. So I will choose the EC2 service, click on next, and then I will search for CloudWatch, and then I will choose the CloudWatch server policy that has the permission of each parameter, SSM parameter. So we'll choose this one only. And this permission, if you want to write to the SSM parameter store, I will click on next, and then I call it CloudWatch Nginx agent role. Scroll down and then create a role. So once this role is created, we will add a new policy to that role. Is this one. So this one actually it allows the cloud agent to set the retention period on the logs group. So it's created. Let us search CloudWatch, this one, and then add permission and create inline permission. Choose JSON, copy those one. Sorry, this one. And paste them here. Can review policy, and then for name I will call it CloudWatch Nginx agent policy. Scroll down and then create the policy. Right, and then come back to the instance, click on instance, click on actions, security, modify IAM role, and look for CloudWatch Nginx role and update the IAM role. So now we'll start the agent using the configuration that is in the parameter store, and make sure that this parameter store name is called Amazon. It starts with Amazon CloudWatch agent, because if we come back to our policies here, we can see that this policy allow only the read on this Amazon CloudWatch resource. So you can call it Amazon CloudWatch hyphen then whatever you want. So here I have called it SSM Amazon CloudWatch agent, And if we go to SSM manager, and then scroll down and go to parameter store, scroll down, I have already this Cloudwatch agent configuration, and the value of it's this one that I have shown you earlier, this one here, that is here, right? So for that, let's just copy this command and run it on EC2. So sudo and paste that here and then start it. So if we type sudo service Amazon CloudWatch agent status, it is running. If we go now to CloudWatch and see whether our log group with the Nginx access log and Nginx error log have been created. So for that, let's just wait until this page loaded and go to logs groups, and then search for Nginx. Yes, you can see that a new log group is created with this name, and this is the same name we have specified here in the cloud watch agent configuration. Sorry, Nginx access log and Nginx error logs. So if we go to that access logs, we can see there is a log stream with the ID of the instance, because we have tell it to use the instance ID for the log stream. So for that, let us get to that log stream and we can see the events. So the event is just the Nginx logs here. Okay. So now, actually, what I want to do now is like you can see this logs is like it's complicated to read it, and I want to have a way to read it. Like for example, I want to extract the IP address, the agent, the HTTP method, the response, the size of the request, the agent being used, and all of those informations. So to doing that, there is a handy way on CloudWatch. It's called like metric filters, or you can like there is a filter pattern. Sorry, not this option is like you can create a metric from those those events. But me, I want to create a subscription filter, because this subscription filter will enable me like to send those logs to either to Kinesis Firehouse, Lambda, or Amazon Open Source. And me, I will use Lambda. I will use Kinesis stream first, send them, right? Then I will use Lambda, because in the Lambda code, I will like for add information. For example, I can use the GeoIP package that, for example, once I have this this example here, I have the log. I can check the public IP address that's made call on my HTTP server. Then I can like for example take now the country, the latitude and the longitude, the city, and the internet service provider, and many more information. So therefore, I have used Lambda to do that and customize a document, then send it to CloudWatch. Sorry, I will send it to Elasticsearch, that I will visualize the logs using Kibana. So let us jump to that. So I will create subscription filter with Kinesis subscription filter. But before that, I need to create permissions for CloudWatch logs to send those logs to our Kinesis, and then create as well the Kinesis stream that this CloudWatch subscription filter will send logs to it. So we'll go to Kinesis and then create a stream and call it Kinesis Cloudwatch. Scroll down and create data stream. And then create permissions for our CloudWatch logs. So let us come back to here and then create a new role. And here I will choose this custom trusts policy. I will scroll down and for the principal, I will choose the AWS, the service, logs, and the name of the region, logs, and then US West 2 is Oregon, US West 2. So the same thing as here, and then I will click on next. And then for the permissions, I can use like here the Kinesis HTTP agent policy because already this one has this permission Kinesis port records and put record. So I do not need to repeat the same procedure and then create a policy with those already existing permissions. Click on next. And for role, CloudWatch, Kinesis, role. Scroll down and then create the permission. And come back here, subscription filter, and create subscription filter. For the stream, we will use Kinesis CloudWatch. For permission, I will choose CloudWatch, Kinesis role. This one. Scroll down, and here, this is the important step, is the filter pattern. So actually, this filter pattern is the ones that enable us to extract and have a handy output of our logs. So let us, I will implement it to see how it's very handy. So in the filters pattern, I will copy this one and paste this to CloudWatch. So actually, if you still remember our logs, there is IP, the ID, if I come here and then choose this stream. Yes, if you can see IP and these hyphens and then the timestamp, the HTTP method, the response, the size, and so on. But these things I want to have them handy, like the IP. Like for example, there is a field called IP, field called timestamp, and so on. So later on, when I will use these logs, it will be very easy for me to read them by AWS Lambda and so on, because it's very hard to extract them. You need to make a regular expression to extract those things, and you need to use many patterns. But with CloudWatch pattern, filter pattern, it is very easy. So I call it like CloudWatch. And if I scroll down and now test this pattern on these logs, we can see a handy output. So if we can see now, we can see that there is a field called agent extract only this from our logs, and the IP, then the HTTP request, the size, the status code, the timestamp, the URL, and so on. So it's very handy, right? And then scroll up now, and then create our stream. So this one will start to send in streams to our Kinesis stream. Next step now is to create our AWS Lambda and then our Elastic or our Amazon open source that is host our Elastic search service. So now let us go to AWS Cloudwatch. Sorry, to open source. And they have forget to add that is that I will integrate like AWS Cognito with Amazon open source for authentication of users. So I will create a domain and they will call it Cloudwatch open source. Scroll down and then you can enable, like for example, if you have your Route 53 domain here, you can use your own as well. .com and then use the certificate, and then for the version you can choose the Elastic 7.10 version, and then for I will use only development and testing. Scroll down, and for AZ I will choose only one AZ. I will go only with the small instance because I don't want to be charged with with the high cost. For the number I chose only one because only test environment. I will scroll down, and then for I want it to be publicly accessible. I will use the fine-grained access control. Means that not everyone is allowed, like for example, even you can make like a use the URL of the or the endpoint of our Elasticsearch, but you are not able, like for example, to make requests on the index, on the cluster, or have control on the cluster and so on. Only if you have uh, like for example a set of permission to do that. So this option is allowing you, as the name indicates, the fine-grained access control. So I will not get into the details because this is not what this lab for. Is just to show you how you can use, how we can visualize at the end Kibana, like logs using Kibana. So for that I will use like for example for the master user I will use the master ARN, and they will tell you what is this one. So actually first thing I will do is go to Cognito. So this Cognito is for authentication. If you are already familiar with like for Keycloak, it is the same as Keycloak. So actually I have already users on this Amazon Cognito, and I have like for example attached to that user a specific role that has full access over, or it's like for example when Elasticsearch or open source try to map the user from your Cognito user pool to the roles, to the IAM roles, it will know that this permission, this user with a specific role, it has the admin access over the Elastic cluster, Elasticsearch cluster. So even, for example, the role does not have any permission, it does not, it is okay. But that role, it will be like it will tell Elasticsearch that this user, when it will authenticate, it will has like for example the admin access to the cluster. I hope that is clear for you. If it is not clear for you, you can give me your feedback on the comment and can make for example a video about Elastic open source with Cognito. So this role is AWS Cognito. Yes, this one. So if we check this, it has no permission here. So just copy the ARN, scroll down, like come back here and paste that here, and we can scroll down. And for Cognito authentication, I will use Cognito. I will scroll down, and here I will only use the fine-grained access control. Scroll up again. Everything is set up. So now I will create that domain, and this will launch nodes and will provide me with the URL that I will use it later on to authenticate and access to my Elasticsearch web browser. So I will pause the video because this will take few times, up to 10 minutes or 11 or 12 minutes, then I will come back to you. So now our open source cluster has set it up. So if we click on the Kibana URL, it will take us to our Cognito login page. So before that, I need to go to come back to Cognito and edit something in the Cognito identity pool. So I will pause the video until I will edit that and come back to you. So now I can log in using my email and then a password. I have already set it up. So I think that now it should work, yes. So every time when we go to our Elasticsearch, the Kibana URL, it will redirect us to our Cognito authentication. And once the authentication done successfully, then it will redirect us back to Elasticsearch, and Elasticsearch will take us to the page. So we'll wait until the Elastic been loaded. So the page loaded, I can click on confirm. And here I can, like for example, scroll down and using the div tools. If you're already familiar with Elastic, then you are familiar with this as well. So we can click on search. We can see how many shards and so on. So next step now is create an AWS Lambda that I have already created. And this Lambda will read records from Amazon Kinesis, will transfer them, will use the IP field, right, and then make a calls to an IP, a REST IPA to another IP that will provide us with information about which country, which internet service provider that public IP address using, and so on. So I will show you all of that. So I have already AWS Lambda is creating. So let's just check here, AWS Lambda service. So this lambda already created, because this lambda will need AWS lambda layers and so on. Therefore, it is already it's been created. I have already tested, so I just say will show you the code, and you can copy and paste it on your own and then work with it. So this is our AWS lambda. So this AWS lambda has, so this is our AWS lambda code, right? So this AWS lambda, actually what it does, it read records from Kinesis stream, and then it will, like, for example, use the IP field, right, and agent field. So the IP field that came from the AWS Kinesis stream record containing the public IP address of the client that call our website. Then we will use another IPE, or a third party, that is IPCG. So this one allow us to retrieve many informations about that public IP address. We can scroll down, we can see what are the information that this IP provide us. Is like country name, city, and so on. So let's just scroll down and check that. So we've got latitude, longitude, country name, ISP, internet service provider, the city. Once we give it, or we call this this third party with these parameters, we provide the IP of the client and then the key, right? So this key, like for example, this key is the only way to talk with our with this third party. This IP key is very important. You can go to the website of throughout this link, and you can see what are the steps that you should take to achieve that as well. So one thing I will edit is I will go to the configuration to change the Elasticsearch host name. So I will pause the video till I change the environment variable of the host and come back to you. So before that, let us create permissions for AWS Lambda to be able to pull records and then talk with OpenSearch. So for that, let us go to IAM, let's scroll up and check what are the permissions that this Lambda needs. So actually, we'll attach it a managed policy by AWS called AWS Lambda Kinesis execution role that has the Kinesis get records permission, and also we'll attach this policy to which, so because we have attached SKS to our AWS Lambda, this SKS, it is our dead letter queue SKS. So every time the Lambda will try, when it will try to proceed the record from Kinesis, if that record fails, then it will be go to SKS. So for that, let me come here and then call it Lambda, create a role for our Lambda. Click on next, scroll down, up, sorry, and then create Lambda and search for that, and it will provide us with the Lambda, sorry, Lambda Kinesis execution role. So we'll choose this one, scroll down, click on next, and then call it Lambda Kinesis Cloudwatch. Scroll down and then create that role. Kinesis, sorry, Lambda Kinesis Cloudwatch, and they will create an inline policy. We'll choose JSON, and they will copy this permission and paste them here. I will review policy, and then I will call it Lambda Kinesis policy. We'll scroll down and then create this policy. We can now come back to AWS Lambda, and then in the execution role, we can choose the one we have created and call it Lambda Kinesis Cloudwatch and save that. Okay, and then now I can go and edit the environment variables. So the variables have been updated. Let me go to this trigger, and then in the triggers I need to remove that ones and use a new one. So I will like, or I can edit this one, but I will see for the Kinesis stream. So for that I need to remove this old one and add a new one. I can check for Kinesis. Then for the stream name, Kinesis Cloudwatch, can scroll down and add that Kinesis. But I think that we need to do a step before this one, and this step is that we need like to allow AWS Lambda to talk with with our open source service, and to allow that, because we have give permission to ECS to that Lambda to talk with open source, but on open source side we need to allow Lambda to create index and send record, and to do that we need to go to the cloud, to the Elasticsearch console, and go to the security session in the security tab, and then create a new role. Or I will just for to go very quickly, I will check the role that has the full permissions. I will scroll down here, this one, and they will, sorry, to duplicate the role, and then for name it's all access, then Lambda. They will scroll down and then create that role. Then I need to map that role to the IAM role. So for example, every time AWS Lambda or any IAM role or IAM user will authenticate across Elastic, then that ARN will be mapped to a specific role on Elastic. So this role on Elastic is not the role on AWS. So this role is for Elastic, the permission on Elastic, and the AWS role, it's the permission on AWS. So once the AWS Lambda will use that role to talk with Elastic, then Elastic will map that specific role ARN to the role of Elastic. I think it's clear for you. For that, we need to go and copy the ARN of Kinesis, the ARN of the Lambda Kinesis CloudWatch role, and then scroll down and then paste it here, and then click on map. Then come back to our AWS Lambda, and then now we can add this tag. And then come back to our Kinesis Nginx web server and click and refreshing this page to generate new logs. And now, if for example, if we go to the Lambda logs, right? So now if we go to the AWS monitoring and then go to CloudWatch logs of this AWS and check whether if there is any error in the logs event or everything is set it up. So I scroll down. This is check the log streams for Lambda Kinesis. Can refresh this here again. And in the meantime, let me come back to CloudWatch and see whether if there is any index with this name. Sorry, with this name. Name of index is Lambda Kinesis index. So let me come back here and refresh. Lambda. Not yet, it's not been created. Let me refresh here. And then every time records will go, it will be generated, it should be written by CloudWatch agent, then it's sent to CloudWatch, then subscription filter will be triggered, then send logs to Kinesis, then Kinesis AWS Lambda will pull the records from Kinesis, then it will add new handy information, then send them to the CloudWatch, sorry, to Elasticsearch. Let me come back here. So no data is available now. Come back to CloudWatch. So yes, there is new logs here. So if we open this one, you can see that there is an error here. Okay, so click on that. Keyword, I don't know where is this keyword. Scroll, just where is this keyword? Let me go to logs and see. Okay, so there is this here. Let me come back here and then go yes here and rename it elastic host. Then come back to logs and keep refreshing here to generate new logs. So, and come back again and then refresh here and see new logs. So this time it should work. Yes. Scroll down, scroll down. If we come back to our Lambda, scroll down. If we now come back here and type git, yes, there is a new record, new index been created. If we click on that, we can see that we have 7 documents being created here. We can scroll down and we can see the information, the IP address, like the country, the internet service provider, and so on. We can see here city and so on. If I come back and go to discover, but before that I need to come back and then go to stack management, index pattern, and then create an index pattern, call it Kinesis, or sorry, Lambda, Kinesis, and then index. Next step, then I create the index. Now I will come back to discover, and now I can see the logs, yes, that are here. But how to visualize them, I especially now to go to visualize and then create a visualization. So we can choose, like for example, the pie, and they can choose the index pattern, and then I create bucket, split slice, and then for the aggregation I will aggregate with terms, and then for fields I will choose like for example UCT, and then scroll down and then update, and they can see that from Casablanca there is 10 requests, 6 requests because it's my city, and then here from Swiss, like Zurich, or I can, for example, update that and then filter by like the ISP, and then update here, and you can see private layer, and this is Maroc Telecom. Or I can filter by like let me scroll down and then filter by country, and then filter it and say Switzerland and Morocco. Yes, so it's very handy. I think we have came to the end of this session. I hope that is very clear for you. If you didn't understand anything, that just let me know in the comment and they can make a specific video about what you haven't understand. I am available to help you and guide you through everything that is not clear. Don't hesitate to share that with your friends. Give me like and give me your feedback. Really, that motivates me, and I will